my my business dropped off a cliff in March, as all my clients in professional services all made sure that all their people, rightly, were all set up with the right IT, and that they could work from home, and everyone was joined up and everyone knew how to use MS Teams and Zoom and everything. And then they did lots and lots of mental health awareness, making sure all their people were okay, everyone was all right. Then lots of resilience training. These are not things that I do, by the way. And then it started to pick up in the summer for me. And actually in the autumn and into the winter, it was quite busy, refreshingly busy, surprisingly busy. And actually this year has started off quite incredibly, with people just getting in touch with me going, we want you to do this, can you do this, can you put a proposal together for this? The bulk of my work is communications training, all sorts of things, negotiation skills, presentation skills, business development, etc. But of course, everybody wants those skills because they're really, really important, really, really important. As Suzanne was saying about BD, it's just essential. Because it's very competitive market out there. Well, it isn't less competitive, that's for sure. And also people want to have a slant with, okay, that's fine, we've got to continue negotiating, we've got to continue influencing, persuading, but how on earth do we do that in a virtual world? And so I had to, and I noticed that number 7, Richard, on your first sort of bullet point list that you went through, that the last point was about innovation. I think I wrote it down here somewhere that was about innovation and listening. And quite early on, it was about May last year, I thought, right, I need to flex, I need to adapt my courses to reflect this virtual world, because, and the poll is very interesting, even when we do go back to normal, I think a lot more professional services, negotiations, business development, BD meetings, etc., will be through a virtual environment. So people within professional services firms have to improve these skills no matter what happens, so they can do it in person and they can do it like this. So I have adapted. You'll probably notice, Francesca said right at the beginning when I came on into the green room at the beginning, she said, oh, you're very tall. And I just didn't have the heart to tell her that I was actually standing up, which I thought was obvious. But this is an important point. I stand up when I'm training. I do this for 2 reasons. One, because if I was doing it in person, I'd be standing up. And therefore it tells my brain, oh, Nick, you must be working. I also wear a shirt. All right, because I've got nothing on below the shirt, by the way. But I wear a shirt because again, I must be working if I'm wearing a shirt, right? And also, so it gives me more energy standing up, much more energy. But more importantly, and this is the bit that I really want to end with, is that's so important when you're delivering a presentation, and delivering training is a presentation. Is it's better for my audience. It's better for my delegates. Why? Because I can generate more energy by standing up. They can also see half of my body. The trouble with the virtual world is all we've seen is this of most people, is what we've done. So we're missing out on a huge amount of non-verbal communication. But at least they can see my hands. And ordinarily we'd be in a classroom and they would be seeing my hands. So it's better for them. And this is always important when one's delivering a presentation. I always say to clients, the single most important thing when you're delivering a presentation / training is your audience. That it's all about them and it's not about you. And what's really important is you have to consider where your audience are. And I don't just mean physically, which many of them are sitting on the end of their beds, bless them, with little laptops open. But I just mean that when they come to one of my courses, when they log on, I am, one of many people that they will have interacted with through a screen. Okay. And chances are all those interactions they will have just with people been here. Okay, and they'll have been very one-dimensional. We miss out on so much communication through this virtual medium here that I have to make sure that when I deliver, that this is really, really engaging. I'll finish with this little story. About 10 years ago, I was asked to speak at a knowledge management conference. I know. I mean, you know, my mum said if I worked really hard, that one day, right, I'd be living the dream. But in my wildest dreams, did I ever expect to be speaking to 150 knowledge management people? Unbelievable. But I was given the topic. They said, we want you to come and talk at our conference, Nick, for 45 minutes. I said, okay, what do you want me to talk about? And they said, we want you to talk about how to get your workforce engaged in training. I went, okay, so what's the background to that? So, well, a lot of people in knowledge management, so that would like librarians and PSLs in law firms, accountancy firms, a lot of them have to deliver training. And, you know, to bring people, the lawyers, the accountants up to speed with what's going on, black letter law, etc. And then they find it very difficult to get engagement in the training. And I went, okay, I'll speak about that. So I got onto this stage, huge stage, right? And they put the title of my talk, massive screen here, and it said, how to get your workforce engaged in training. And I read it, which I don't normally do. I don't like to read from PowerPoint slides because my, you know, audience can read. And I went, how to get your workforce engaged in training. Make your training engaging. And then I walked off. Now, I was contractually bound to speak for longer than that, so I did go back on. But the point was made. If you want to get your people engaged in training, and they need it more than ever, you need to make sure your training's engaging, really engaging.